United States versus Canada.
Does the United States have the same government type as Canada?
How are the leaders elected into position, and what are the similarities and differences?
What are the advantages and disadvantages?
Stating the obvious, Canada has a prime minister and the U.S. has a president. To become president in the United States, you must meet these standards. You must have been born in the country and have lived there for at least 14 years. The person who is elected must be at least 35 years of age. In Canada, there is no special age residency or requirement for the Prime Minister. Since there is no specific age or requirements to run for Prime Minister in Canada, it is a lot easier to get into the government.
The United States has very strict conditions, so it would be more difficult to become part of the government.
105 senates in the United States are directly elected for a staggered 6-year term.
100 senates in Canada are elected and will remain senators until they are 75 years old.
Since the ages vary between the two countries, it is hard to say which ones are better or worse. In the U.S., there is a very precise date and time for the elections. Every 4 years, there is a new election for president. The date is the Tuesday following the 1st November. The earliest date is November 2nd, and the latest date is November 8th. The Canadian federal election, there is no specific date and time. This upcoming election is October 19, 2015. Canada has a very different approach for federal election. The enumerators go door to door and construct a national voting list. However, this is very time-consuming. Also, each year on tax returns, Canadians check their consent to be on the national voters list. The list is constantly updated. American citizens have to make the effort to vote. They have the opportunity to vote by renewing their driver's license, registrations, and many other ways. However, there is a major legal issue about using photo identification to see who is voting. The reason why is some of the less fortunate or homeless citizens do not have the time or money to produce photo ID before the election. The Constitution determines the fundamentals of the federal elections in both countries. However, the U.S. Constitution is more active than the Canadian one. For the presidential election in the United States, the voter turnout is around average 56.8% in the previous 2008 election. In Canada, it was a 61.1% last election. You can vote in Canada if you are a Canadian citizen and 18 years old. You also have to prove yourself when you are voting by showing a driver's license or photo ID. In the States, you also have to be 18 years old and legally registered to vote. In the U.S., 19 states permit 17-year-olds to vote if they are 18 years of age by the election date. Since we are doing a comparison question, it is hard to say which government is better or worse, as there are pros and cons to both systems. Now that you've seen both sides, which government type do you prefer?